The first clue was sitting at the bottom of a grocery receipt. Dryer sheets, disposable wipes, air freshener refills, glass cleaner, paper towels, and a bottle of fabric softener. None of them looked expensive alone. Together, they had cost nearly $60, and within a few weeks, every one of them would be empty or thrown away. That is how most household budgets are weakened, not by one dramatic purchase, but by small products bought automatically month after month without anyone stopping to ask whether they are still necessary. I learned that lesson in the laundry room of a small roadside hotel outside Lancaster, Pennsylvania. My name is Martha Whitfield. I am 68 years old, and for 26 years, I supervise housekeeping and laundry operations for a family-owned hotel. We washed hundreds of towels every week, cleaned dozens of bathrooms every day, and tracked every bottle, cloth, refill, and repair, because a small waste repeated across 40 rooms could become a serious expense by the end of the year. When I retired, I brought those habits home to my old farmhouse. I began examining the products under my sink, beside my washing machine, and inside my pantry. What surprised me was how many things I had been buying simply because they had always been on my shopping list. Over one winter, I removed 12 recurring purchases or reduced them dramatically. My house remained clean, my clothes remained fresh, my appliances worked normally, and the savings continued long after the experiment ended. But the money was not the only benefit. I also stopped coating fabrics with unnecessary residue, reduced the number of harsh chemicals stored in my home, and became much more careful about using the right method for the right surface. Let us begin in the laundry room, because that is where one of the most common unnecessary purchases hides. Dryer sheets are sold as though a dryer cannot operate properly without them. They reduce static and leave a strong fragrance, but many sheets work by depositing a thin coating onto fabric. Over time, that residue can affect the absorbency of towels, and they also collect on parts of the dryer, including the lint screen. At the hotel, we could not afford towels that merely smelled soft. They had to absorb water. For ordinary loads, reusable wool dryer balls can help separate clothing, improve airflow, and reduce drying time. They may also reduce static, although results depend on the fabric, humidity, and how long the load is dried. Some people use a tightly formed ball of aluminum foil to reduce static, but it must be smooth, firmly compressed, and kept away from delicate fabrics. Wool balls are the more durable option. The larger lesson is simple. Do not keep buying a disposable product before testing whether a reusable one performs the same job. Liquid fabric softener deserves the same examination. When too much is used, it can leave residue on towels, athletic clothing, and microfiber cloths. That residue may make them feel smooth while reducing their ability to absorb moisture. I once visited my daughter after she complained that her bath towels seemed to push water across her skin instead of drying her. She thought the towels had become too old. They were only 18 months old. The real problem was that she had been filling the softener compartment to the top for every load. We washed the towels again with regular detergent, no softener, and an extra rinse. Their absorbency improved noticeably. Some households add a small amount of white vinegar to the rinse cycle to help remove detergent residue. However, washing machine manufacturers differ in their recommendations, and repeated exposure to acid may affect certain rubber seals or internal parts. Check the appliance manual before making vinegar part of a regular routine. Often, the safest solution is simply to use less detergent, skip the softener, and select an extra rinse when needed. But that was not the detail that saved me the most money. The largest change happened beside the kitchen sink. For years, I bought large packs of paper towels. A roll disappeared every few days because paper towels were sitting in the easiest place to reach. We use them to dry clean hands, wipe a few drops of water, polish a counter, and clean spills that could easily have been handled by cloth. One Saturday, I opened a cedar chest containing old cotton t-shirts, worn flannel pillowcases, and 2 towels with frayed edges. I cut them into squares approximately the size of a washcloth. I placed the clean cloths in a basket on the counter and kept a ventilated container beneath the sink for used ones. That small change transformed our habits immediately. The cloths cleaned better because they did not disintegrate when wet. They could be rinsed, dried, and reused. Once or twice a week, I washed them in a hot laundry load appropriate for the material and the mess they had cleaned. I still keep paper towels for jobs where disposal is more hygienic, especially raw meat juices, pet accidents, grease, or substances that should not enter the washing machine. But one roll now lasts far longer than it once did. The real savings came from changing what my hand reached for first. Now move from the counter to the window. Most glass does not require a specialized blue cleaner. For routine dirt, a small amount of dish soap mixed with water can work surprisingly well. A properly diluted vinegar and water solution may also help on some plain glass surfaces, especially when mineral residue is involved. The cloth matters just as much as the liquid. Paper towels can leave lint behind. A clean, tightly woven cotton cloth or microfiber glass cloth usually produces a clearer finish. Wipe the surface, then polish it with a separate dry cloth before the moisture evaporates into streaks. Never use vinegar on natural stone, unsealed grout, certain electronic screens, or surfaces whose manufacturer warns against acids. And never combine vinegar with chlorine bleach. That mixture can release dangerous gas. This is where saving money requires judgment. A cheap method is only useful when it is also safe for the material in front of you. The same principle applies to dishwashers. Before buying stronger detergent, rinse additives, or expensive cleaning pods, check the basic causes of cloudy dishes. Clean the filter. Confirm that the spray arms can turn freely. Make sure the water reaches the temperature recommended by the manufacturer. Use the correct amount of detergent for your water hardness, and do not crowd dishes so tightly that water cannot reach them. White mineral film may respond to an acidic dishwasher cleaning product, and some people place a bowl containing vinegar on the upper rack during an empty hot cycle. However, vinegar should not automatically be poured into the rinse aid reservoir because concentrated acid may damage seals or internal components in some machines. Follow the dishwasher manufacturer's instructions. At the hotel, a poorly loaded machine caused more cloudy glasses than the detergent did. Employees would place tall trays in front of the spray path, then blame the soap. Once the loading pattern was corrected, the problem nearly disappeared. The real mistake was hidden somewhere else. People often buy a new product before checking whether the appliance is being used correctly. Now consider your freezer. A reasonably full freezer generally maintains its temperature more steadily than an almost empty one, because frozen food and containers hold cold better than open air. When the door opens, less cold air is lost and replaced by warmer room air. If your freezer has large empty spaces, clean plastic containers filled partly with water can become reusable ice blocks. Leave room for the water to expand as it freezes. Secure the lids and do not block vents or interfere with airflow. These frozen containers are especially useful during a power outage. According to food safety guidance, a full, unopened freezer generally stays cold longer than a half-empty one, although the exact time depends on the appliance, room temperature, and how often the door is open. Use an appliance thermometer rather than guessing, and discard food that has warmed beyond safe limits. The next savings opportunity is hidden in the bathroom. Many slow drains begin with hair, soap residue, and debris near the stopper. Before reaching for a harsh chemical opener, remove the stopper if it is designed to come out, pull out visible hair with a drain tool, and flush the pipe with hot tap water. Baking soda and vinegar create an impressive foam, but the bubbling does not mean they can dissolve every clog. The two substances largely neutralize each other. They may help loosen light residue, but they should not replace physical removal, proper maintenance, or professional help. Avoid pouring boiling water into pipes unless you know the plumbing material can safely tolerate it. Very hot water may soften or damage some plastic piping and seals. Never add vinegar, bleach, or another cleaner after using a commercial drain opener, because dangerous reactions can occur. If several drains are slow at once, sewage is backing up, or a clog repeatedly returns, the problem may be deeper in the plumbing system. That is the moment to call a qualified plumber rather than pouring additional chemicals into the pipe. Now open the cabinet where cleaning powders are stored. For many ordinary jobs, baking soda provides mild abrasion and odor control at a very low cost. It can help clean stainless steel sinks, certain tubs, stovetops, and other durable surfaces when used gently with a damp cloth. But test it first. Baking soda can scratch polished finishes, soft metals, delicate coatings, glass cooktops, and some plastics if scrubbed aggressively. It should also not be treated as a universal disinfectant. Cleaning removes dirt. Disinfecting requires an appropriate product used for the correct contact time. I keep one plain box of baking soda, but I no longer pretend it can replace every cleaner in the house. The goal is not to own one miracle product. The goal is to stop buying 6 specialized products when 2 carefully chosen ones will do the work safely. Air fresheners provide another example. A fragrance can cover an odor without removing its cause. When a room smells unpleasant, first look for damp fabric, spoiled food, a full trash container, plumbing problems, mold, pet messes, or poor ventilation. An open container of baking soda can help with some odors in enclosed spaces, such as a refrigerator, although it must be replaced periodically. Activated charcoal designed for household odor control may work better in some situations. For a temporary natural scent, I sometimes simmer water with citrus peel, cinnamon, or cloves. I remain in the kitchen, keep the heat low, add water as needed, and never leave the pot unattended. Homes with pets, respiratory sensitivities, or small children should be especially cautious with fragrances, essential oils, steam, and hot cookware. A pleasant smell should be the final touch after the source of the odor has been removed. Now let us talk about toilet paper, because this is where false economy can work in both directions. Very thick paper may break down more slowly in some older plumbing or septic systems, especially when people use excessive amounts. But the cheapest paper is not automatically the best value if a household uses twice as much of it. Look for paper labeled septic safe when appropriate, use only what is needed, and never flush wipes unless both the product instructions and local wastewater guidance specifically say they are safe. Even many products marketed as flushable can contribute to blockages. When plumbing is old, narrow, damaged, or repeatedly clogged, a plumber's evaluation is more valuable than arguing over brands. Another small expense is the drawer full of uncertain batteries. You may have heard of dropping an alkaline battery to see whether it bounces. A heavily discharged alkaline battery often bounces more than a fresh one because of internal chemical changes. But this is not a reliable measurement of remaining capacity, and repeatedly dropping batteries can damage them or cause leakage. Use an inexpensive battery tester or multimeter instead. Inspect every battery for swelling, corrosion, heat damage, or leaks. Recycle batteries according to local rules and keep loose batteries away from children and metal objects that could short the terminals. The safest money-saving habit is not performing a dramatic trick. It is testing before replacing. Coffee grounds are another item people try to reuse. Dried grounds can sometimes help scrub residue from durable cookware, but they may scratch delicate surfaces and should not be washed in large amounts down the sink because they can contribute to clogs. In a garden, small quantities may be added to a balanced compost system, but dumping thick layers directly around plants can compact the soil and may not provide the benefits people expect. Reuse is valuable only when the second use does not create a new problem. Now we come to the two household settings that can affect the budget more than nearly every bottle under the sink: the thermostat and the water heater. Lowering the heating temperature modestly during long periods when the house is empty or when everyone is asleep may reduce energy use. The best setting depends on climate, insulation, health needs, heating equipment, and the people living in the home. Older adults, infants, and anyone with certain medical conditions may require a warmer environment. A programmable or smart thermostat can make gradual adjustments automatically, but even a simple habit, closing curtains at night, sealing obvious drafts, maintaining the heating system, and wearing an additional layer can help. The water heater deserves careful attention as well. Many households can use a setting near 120 degrees Fahrenheit or about 49 degrees Celsius to reduce scalding risk and energy use. However, recommendations vary according to the heater type, plumbing system, household health risks, and concerns about bacterial growth. Do not adjust gas or electrical equipment unless you understand the controls and the manufacturer's instructions. When uncertain, ask a qualified technician or plumber. The next detail can be the difference between saving money and creating a dangerous situation. Never remove covers, touch wiring, or adjust unfamiliar equipment merely because a short online video makes the job look easy. Finally, look at the products you buy because they are designed to disappear. Paper towels are thrown away. Dryer sheets are thrown away. Fragrance refills empty themselves. Cleaning wipes are used once. Specialty bottles run out. None of these products is automatically bad, and some are useful in specific situations. The question is whether each one deserves a permanent place in your monthly budget. Here is the method I now use. When a household product runs out, I do not immediately replace it. I ask what job it performed, whether I already own something that can do that job safely, whether a reusable option exists, and whether the product solved the problem or merely covered it temporarily. Then I test one change at a time. This week, begin with the simplest one. Cut several clean cotton clogs from worn towels or shirts. Place them where you normally keep paper towels. Reserve disposable paper for contaminated or unusually messy jobs. At the end of the week, count how many sheets you avoided using. Next, examine your laundry routine. Measure the detergent instead of pouring by sight. Try one load without fabric softener. Clean the lint screen and check whether reusable dryer balls suit your machine and clothing. Then inspect the dishwasher filter, freezer temperature, thermostat schedule, drains, and water heater setting. follow appliance manuals, test homemade cleaners on a hidden area, keep acids away from bleach, and call a professional when plumbing, gas, electricity, mold, or repeated appliance trouble is involved. Do not attempt all 12 changes in one afternoon. The goal is not to make your home difficult to manage. The goal is to replace automatic spending with deliberate choices. A reasonable result is not a perfectly expense-free household. It is fewer recurring purchases, less clutter, safer maintenance habits, and a shopping list containing only the products that truly earn their place. Which household product did your parents or grandparents avoid buying because they had a simpler method that worked? Subscribe for more practical ways to protect your home and your budget. In the next video, I will show you the overlooked appliance settings that can quietly raise an electric bill even when the appliance appears to be working perfectly.